Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone's doing well. So, an effort to be consistent, to regularly bring forth value, to share in the series of advice, which is intending to bring parents and their kids or parents and youth together, right? Bridging the gap between the parents and the youth. So far, we said first piece of advice, the place to start is that families need to talk, right? And we said that doesn't mean that they need to agree on everything. It doesn't mean that when we say they're not talking, as in they're not on the same page, not on the same worldview, because a lot of that is natural. Conflict is natural. Parents and kids will disagree. They're different personalities. No two people have ever fully agreed, especially if the parents have come from a different country, come from a different part of the world, had a different upbringing, different time, different place, different challenges. So success can be measured differently, should be measured differently. Success can be defined differently, which is the point of this episode. But yeah, the families need to talk for sure. Generations need to talk. There's a very real generational gap in the vast majority of families that we've interacted with. As you, Doctor, here in Houston, the majority of these families that I've interacted with, it seems like they don't talk at all. And then how can you expect to ever really solve or get to the root of these issues, right? Second piece of advice. First, families need to talk. Number two, the success mindset, defining success, right? We'll talk more about success in future episodes. But the first point is that many times parents, directly or indirectly, intentionally or unintentionally, probably involuntarily, train their kids to be anxious, to be afraid, to put themselves in a psychological box. Well, the reality is that everyone's going to make mistakes. And the fact that you have all this wisdom to share and all this advice to give your kids is as a result of the fact that you made those mistakes. So it's okay for your kids to make mistakes. It's natural. The goal isn't that they'll never make mistakes, but that they'll listen to you in every little thing, because you want some self-discovery. You want them to experiment in a way, not in a way that's destructive. You don't want them to take on, experiment with, and build up habits that are destructive, but you want them to explore the world, to find out exactly what they can and can't do, exactly what their role is in society, what are their hobbies, what are their passions, what are their talents, what are their dreams. And we'll talk more about dreams in a future episode. So don't put them in a box, right? Which is natural, especially if you come from a country, from a place, a time or a place where it was unstable, where there's a lack of security, lack of stability. It's natural. You'd rather your kids be put in a box. You also hear this all the time, but parents are always comparing their kids to other kids, right? So although they don't mean it, they're actually setting the standard lower. Telling their kids to just do what they need to do to be the average among their friends, to just get by, just be like everybody else, right? Look at what they're doing, look at what he's doing, look at what she's doing. Why are you doing this when everyone else is doing this? Why don't you go to this college and study this major? And why don't you do like this person or that person? Find success by a paycheck or by grades in school or by all these other things that make them feel more comfortable, that they belong and they're accepted, they fit in. When in reality, you're limiting their success, because maybe they're meant to be different. Maybe they're not supposed to study the same major as everyone else that was in their graduating class, right? Maybe they aren't supposed to go to college right away. Maybe they're supposed to work for a year. And I know parents hate to hear that. And it's just an example. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying that every kid is different. Every kid is unique. And you don't know exactly what success looks like for your particular kid if you're defining success merely just on what everyone else around them is doing. It's a very shallow definition of success. You're losing your kids and you're pulling them down even if you don't mean to, right? So stop comparing them to everybody else, right? And stop aiming low. Encourage them to be all that they can be. Encourage them to be the best version of themselves. That's a better definition of success than just some abstract metric, some ambiguous, some kind of random view on what success could look like. And just because other parents are saying something doesn't mean you need to follow suit, right? And just because other kids at your kid's age are doing things doesn't mean that that's the best thing for your kid, right? Maybe they're meant to be an entrepreneur, right? Maybe they're meant to start their own company. In which case, their grades in school aren't the most important thing. They're important. Grades are important. I'm not here to encourage them to not take their study seriously. I would never do that. I'm actually a award-winning tutor, 10 years of experience, very passionate about academics. I love helping kids with their studies. I take study seriously myself, always have been, and I'm hoping to go for further degrees. Maybe you might be cutting out a lot of their potential success. You might be pulling them down and putting them in a box, even if you don't intend it. Just be careful, right? And that's it for today's episode. I want to keep these short. I don't want to lecture on and on. The intention, the goal would be to have a full series, so I'm regular and committed and organized. I'll be sharing a schedule soon, so you know exactly what times I'm on what platforms going live. Right now, I'm on YouTube and Twitter, and earlier I was on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. So I hope to be regular on all these platforms and have a schedule soon. The point is to have short reflections every time, short piece of advice, not the expert on any of these things, but hoping to help based on the experience I've had as a user and as a tutor. I'll leave you guys with that. And the intention is to have what I hope to be 100 unique episodes, right? So a different piece of advice every time, 100 small bits and pieces over the next couple months, especially taking advantage of the fact that we're in quarantine, which again means you have an advantage, you have a opportunity to spend quality time as a family, which will help a lot in everything else we have to say. Starts from there. If we're trying to bridge these, if we're trying to bridge these generations, if we're trying to bridge kids and their parents, which seems to be a universal issue around the world, we're trying to bridge them. It starts with them talking, right? And parents, make sure that you're teaching your kids how to be successful. You're not pulling them down. You're not putting them in a box, even if it's unintentional. So be careful the way you scare your kids about different things, and you cause them anxiety, and you tell them what not to do, and always say no, 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 and don't do this and don't do that, and look out for this. Right? Why don't you look for opportunities in society and push your kids into them? See what they're unique at and what they're good at, what potential they have to develop, and what sets them apart from others. Because every kid is unique, right? So let's be more successful. Let's have the success mindset. See you guys soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.